What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another SLA video. Okay, guys, we're going to be doing something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time since Global dropped, and that is giving the best possible advice for free-to-play players on how to best manage your account overall. Okay, this is going to be from somebody who has completed the entire game as a free-to-play player using only SR weapons and SR units. You guys can check that video out right here. F2P SR only account is finished. I stopped using this account because I wanted to join you guys on Global at the same time, but this account did in fact finish all of early access with only 119k power and using SR units and SR weapons. So with that being said, I had the ability to test everything out from both a pay-to-win perspective and a free-to-play perspective, and I can give you guys the full range of information that you have to know. So let's talk about it all. Okay, so first off, resources. This is an important one, okay? You don't have an infinite amount of resources like pay-to-win players do. You have a very finite amount of resources, specifically gold and enhancement tokens, okay? So first off, gold. Let's talk about that because that's a big one. I have a gold guide on how to gain gold, how to spend gold properly, but I'm going to talk about it here real quick. The main thing you want to focus on are your hunters and your weapons for Jinwoo, right? Now for hunters, you want to do at least a 3 to 4, pushing 5 early on. You can do that early on. Eventually, you're going to stop leveling up the hunters that you use less, right? Now, my top 4 hunters right now are going to be Choi, Beck, Cha, and Heejin, Park Heejin, and then a little bit of Tashik when I need a dark unit in there because I don't have a dark unit here as well. And Jinwoo as well too when I need a breaker. Or if I don't need a breaker, I just take him out, right? There's 6 units here, but you can see here some of them are not being leveled any further because I'm starting to now use other units over them. Early on, it's okay to spend a little bit because we actually have quite a bit of gold to start with. In Global, early access, we had no gold practically. But early on, you want to do at least 3, 4 to 5, maximum 5 I'd say, and stop there, save your gold. And then later on when gold doesn't become a problem, yes, there is a point where gold does not become a problem for you, then you start leveling up other heroes. And the reason why you start leveling up other heroes as well is in your actual idle shop, your little activity funds, the more units you level, the more idle experience points and gold you get. And this becomes very important later on, okay? So your total roster level is going to matter a lot because you can get all the way up to 10% extra gold and 10% extra EXP. So remember that. That is an important part of the game, but you don't do it right away. You do it gradually as a free-to-play player, okay? Now, with that being said, check out the gold guide if you have any information or if you need information on anything. One thing I will say a lot of people are not doing is after a while, when you start farming some of your higher-end stuff, you want to make sure, guys, you are selling anything that is a rare or a common and get more gold from that, okay? So I'm going to sell that right there. You guys see 11,000 gold. That is a couple enhancements that you will do. Now, let's talk about artifacts for a second because artifact farming is the key thing. So number one, I'll make a separate guide on this, the shop. Every single day that you're able to afford it, you should go to the exchange shop, go to the Mana Crystal Exchange section, and get yourself 2 keys from each section of these because what happens is your artifact farming is going to be the most important part for 2 reasons. Number one, it's the fastest way to gain combat power and another way to gain gold. So always get your 2 keys when you can. And with that being said, it is important to also make sure you use all of your keys for your gates, all right? That way you're able to mine nonstop without having to like suffer from not having any gates open. You guys can see here I've got all 3. And also remember, I'll talk more about gates very soon. Gates do matter as well as mining. So make sure you're doing this all the time so you can in fact buy those keys. Now with artifacts, the main thing you want to do with artifacts, guys, is focus on rares in the beginning, okay, and some commons. Do not exceed level 10. Okay, do not exceed level 10. The moment you start getting purples, then you can start considering going past level 10. There are some you can go to 14 if you want to push for challenge purposes, but at the end of the day, you're going to be losing out if you're doing that too much. So you want to make sure you're going for level 10. Now, the reason why level 10 is the sweet spot is if you ever want to unequip one of those artifacts, it doesn't cost you any gold. Anything past level 10 will actually cost you gold to unequip. So with that being said, make sure level 10 is your highest. Level 14 I did, of course, for challenges. So unless you're doing some challenges that require you to do more, pick your best gear and focus on that. We'll talk more about challenges very soon. All right. Now, the main thing with artifacts as well, too, in the beginning, don't worry about what works best for somebody. Just equip people with anything. It doesn't matter. Some stats obviously matter. Don't worry about sets. Stats matter. The reason why that's important is you want to be above the combat power and never be in the red so you don't get penalized with losing DPS, crit, and precision. So put on anything that makes sense, that has some decent stats, and then after a while, when you start doing that, you'll be able to actually get better gear when you have more power. Now, with that being said, I do want to talk a little bit about something else here, and that is actual dungeons. Do not be afraid to tackle dungeons. Look at this. I did tier 5 today, right? At 104k recommended power, I did it with 61k. And actually, as a matter of fact, I did this on live stream with 55k, so even less. So don't be afraid to take some challenges. Teams do matter. Makeup does matter. I'll do a whole separate Arachnid and Cerberus team video for you guys later on, but it does matter a lot in terms of what you use. And remember, elemental damage gives you an extra 50% more damage to the opponent, so make sure you are bringing at least 1 or 2 elemental units with DPS. A breaker, 2 DPS is probably the ideal way to go. So make sure you are farming your artifacts every single day and don't skimp on those, okay? So I wanted to make sure that we covered that part of it because a lot of people don't know how that works. Now, another thing you need to focus on always, all the time, is going to be your challenges. These challenges are going to be what give you guys the most amount of resources early on, as well as the most amount of summons that you can grow your account and get some dupes, right? Now, these challenges are going to range from various different things. The main ones you really want to focus on hitting are going to be number 9, which gives you a free scythe, right? That's going to put you at A0 if you don't have it. And then a secondary scythe here at chapter 12. So you're going to get to at least a A1 free scythe just by doing this. Along the way, you're going to get so many other resources. So make sure, guys, you are focusing on these and getting them done as much as you possibly can. With that being said, gates. A lot of people hate doing gates like myself. I'm not a fan of gates. I don't like the concept. As a matter of fact, they drive me crazy. But with that being said, I do know there is an importance to them. So you do definitely want to make sure you are doing as many gates as you possibly can, because gates are going to give you guys essences. They're going to give you guys resources. They're going to give you guys artifacts. They're going to give you guys crystals, shadows, etc. all over the place. The main thing with gates you want to focus on as free to play is make sure that you complete all 3 of these EXP slots, because they will give you guys the most amount of EXP in the game outside of story mode, right? And eventually you will get capped in story mode because there's a level requirement. So gates are going to be your quote-unquote gateway to getting more EXP. Now, you can farm further than this required amount that they give you. I don't recommend it as free to play. Also, I don't recommend using any of your hard-earned essence stones to rescan. They've actually made rescans 5 minutes. Before, in early access, it was 10 minutes every time, and it increased every time you actually scanned it. So it doesn't hurt to just sit back and wait. Now remember, I have a gates guide for you guys on how to farm gates. Go take a look at those. Now, once gold doesn't become a problem because you're farming it through gates and you're selling artifacts and you're higher level, what becomes a problem instead are going to be these enhancement chips. That is going to actually end up being a bigger issue for you. So as a free-to-play player, you actually do want to farm some of these lower end blue ones, or at least A to S's to get essence stones, but these blue ones all drop artifact chips. Now, the higher gate levels will drop better artifact chips. So you can go check out my gate guide. It gives you a full spectrum. The beauty of doing the lower ones, though, of course, is you can sweep and not have to worry about doing them manually yourself. But there is, of course, the drops that do matter. So gates is a major part. Now, we talked about leveling very quickly. This is one of the fastest ways to level. Doing your normal mode and your hard mode are going to be one of your best ways to level up. Those are, as a matter of fact, the only ways to level up. Now, while you're leveling, you're going to hit a point in the game where you can't go any further because your level's too low and you might not have enough EXP to go further in the storyline. Now, what you want to do at that point, guys, is you actually want to do Battlefield of Trials. Battlefield of Trials is a great way to get yourself gold, other resources, design tokens, some sandpaper, what are these called again? Mark of Times for the armor, I forgot they're called, some tokens to summon, etc. Right? These are going to be very huge. And remember, you can do both the hunter and you can do the player versions of these. And the reason why that's so important is you can get double the rewards by completing these for both of them. So make sure you are focusing on both. Now, while you're doing this, keep in mind that you can actually go, none of these bosses have elements, so it doesn't matter who you use at the end of the day, as long as they're your best characters. You at least want to bring a breaker for the hunters, you want to bring a DPS and a support, or 2 DPS and 1 breaker. If the boss doesn't have any break mechanics, bring 3 DPS or 2 DPS and a support. And the same thing goes with Jinwoo. They are mirrors of each other. All right, if you finish it with Jinwoo, you know how the fight is for Hunter. So do this for sure. It is extremely important. Now, with that being said, we just talked about some of the hunters. Let's talk about the top hunters that you should have in the beginning. There's a tier list, obviously, go check it out. But Cha should be your #1 goal. Focus on getting her. After that, Choi, and Beck are great options. Beck is an amazing breaker. You don't need him though because you have Jinwoo. Jinwoo's an amazing breaker himself, one of the best in the game as a matter of fact. And you can see here as a free-to-play player, I already got A5 because you get so many versions of him for free. So you can definitely use him if you need to. SM Beck is also an incredibly powerful unit in the beginning. You can use him instead, but remember, he does lose HP fairly quickly, so you have to be an expert dodger and an expert like DPS user to kind of utilize his skill to maximum. But Cha and Choi, and there's two other really big ones, and I don't have them, but I will talk about them. There's Emma, who's going to be your best clearing unit in the game by far. Any AoE mobs, any stages, she will be your best clearing unit, so you want to definitely get her. And also Saw. Saw is going to be your water SSR unit. She is the best and only real valid unit for killing Cerberus. So early on, you want to farm Arachnid and Cerberus as much as you possibly can for higher end gear and better overall sets. You definitely want to get her. So those are going to be some of your best top units that you want to focus on. So you should be working on getting those units. Weapon-wise for Jinwoo, let's talk about that real quick because weapons are important, obviously. It's a big part of the game. Focus on leveling up 4 to 5 weapons max, okay? So Plum Sword is a universal weapon that will be used for its buff for anything you do. So any weapon. Westwind is still a powerhouse. Even at A0, I'm killing things. The Light Bow, huge DPS, massive DPS, okay? So you can use those. Kasaka Dagger, don't sleep on these. They're absolutely incredible at getting you through content, okay? With their bleed, the poison, etc. Plus you get a few free copies. You can A1 it, A2 it, A3 it, etc. I believe up to A3 or A4 for free. Night Killer's been buffed, so very good as well too. And a couple other ones. The Scythe, obviously, when it drops, will be a major weapon. The Grimoire is a massive weapon, and so is the Huntsman for light break damage. And then, of course, the Moon Shadow Daggers, which are going to be great for boosting your attack on your Plum Sword, as well as your your Scythe. Keep in mind also, another SR weapon that I don't have here, which is one of the top tier weapons, is Orb of Avarice. Do not sleep on that. So those are some of the weapons you absolutely want to focus on. If you have them, focus on, like I said, 4 to 5 of them. Get them to level 40. The max as free to play you want to hit for a long time is going to be 60 on your top 2 or 3 weapons. Don't go past that. But level 40 is a really good sweet spot for quite some time. Focus on getting those to 40, and you're golden for probably mid-game, I'd say, okay? Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit about story mode and what you want to do and how you want to do it. So story mode is important, obviously. You want to go as far as you possibly can, and then when you get gated here, you actually want to go back and get all the trophies for all the stories. Now you can see here trophies exist all over the place. You want to make sure you get all of them done, complete them. Number one, when you get all the trophies finished, you're going to get yourself an additional custom draw tickets when you do that, but also more importantly than that, you also get a weekly reward for Essence Stones. And these trophies here is going to dictate how much you get, right? So you can see here, award required, I get 250 Essence Stones every week. So I need to get 350 trophies to get the next tier, then 450, then 550, etc. These are important. And these trophies also exist in Battle of Trials, and they also exist in the Encore dungeons as well as the instances. So make sure you are doing these and getting your trophies. Go back and complete them. It will give you guys an overall boost to your Essence Stones acquisition. You definitely want to do that, okay? Now, with that being said, remember, there are some stories that you're going to eventually hit. As a free-to-play player, you're going to live in the red combat power. It doesn't mean you won't be able to beat content. Like I said to you guys before, and I have the video to prove it, I finished the entire game in early access, all of Chapter 15, as a free-to-play player using SRs only, at 119k power. The max power, I think, of that stage was 300 something. So I did it with a deficit of almost 120, 130, 140, 150 to 200k power. Doable as long as you have the proper setup. So remember, as a free-to-play player, you are going to live in that penalty state for a long time. As long as you have the proper team compositions, the proper weapons, you'll definitely be able to beat that. So don't worry about it. It's not going to end the game for you, and you don't have to sit back and wait. Attempt and try, okay? Those are some of the most important things that you have to do. Now remember, achievements also give trophies, and claim everything as much as you possibly can, and focus on what I told you in terms of getting yourself the proper setup and proper skills. Now don't also sleep on fusion. This is important as well. Use your gold to get new skills. Skills are going to make or break your character. Definitely focus on those guys, and you should be leveling up your skills as well too for Jinwoo. And also, don't forget, as a free-to-play player, your weapons also can get their skills leveled up. If you go to the skill section here, look at that. You can level up the skill, so you should be using some of your tokens to level up the most important skills for your weapons. Okay, you guys can see here I've leveled up a few of them already. Here's another one I want to level up. And so this will increase the damage of the skill as well too, and push you to further heights, all right? Don't forget that. A lot of people don't know that, and a lot of people don't focus on it, but Jinwoo's weapons all can level up their skills. Hunter's ones, on the other hand, cannot. Okay? Even the tier ones cannot do it. All right? So keep that in mind. So there you guys have it. I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about. Remember, the special commissions does exist. Unfortunately, with special commissions, they took away the ability to do these in story mode, which is a shitty move on their part. Normally, we're able to farm these in story mode, so you're going to have to do them through gates and other means. So that part is hindered a little bit. It's unfortunate. Now, a couple things I want to also mention before I go off here. Battle tier, important to reach. Battle tier will give you guys essence stones, plus give you guys some extra gold. And how you do that is you level up your combat power and then use the armory to your advantage. Now, a lot of people are going to ask me, Payne, how do I change armory weapons? Well, you can't. It puts your best weapons in the armory automatically. Do not unlock these using essence stones, guys. These will be used through unlocking with these mark of times. Take the long route. This is way too much to spend on very low CP increase, okay? And the armory does not actually increase your power in any way, shape, or form. It's just literally an increase to your combat power so you can go above the red in order to avoid the penalty that the red provides you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about real quick before I go off here, guys, is my spreadsheet. So if I go here, there's a spreadsheet right here. I'll put this in the description. This is on all my live streams now. These are the most important videos, I think, for you global players. They're all titles and they're all the links to the videos. I'll post this every single video now going forward. This will be updated every live stream. So please use this to your advantage. These are some of the most important topics that you guys always ask about, and the videos are available. All right, guys, this is Payne. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.